Hello everyone, Michael Mechanical here. It's late and I've been doing some homework just now to try and see what I can and can't do with my car. There's good news, there's bad news. I'm not sure what I can and can't do, but I'm looking into potentially just rebuilding all the suspension parts that need replacing. It seems like the rear end's shockers are good, the front end shockers are really good still too. I have no idea how bad they are, but I reckon they're in good condition. And what I wanted to look at today was not just the suspension in the rear, because I've started pulling that apart, but was these bushes. Now if you can tell, they're not quite round, they're more of an oval shape, and that's because they're very, very badly worn out. I don't know how bad you can tell in the video, but if I shine some light from up here, you can see they're all very, very worn out in an irregular way. They're not round at all. And so what I'm going to try and do is use the extra light to get different angles. And I don't know if you can see this, but this one has a broken off stud there, and they're also not quite round. At the ends you can see one edge has more material than the other in some circumstances. This one's actually not as bad as the other one. The other one is actually pretty bad, but this one has a snap stud, and if you compare the two, you can actually see that this one's actually snapped off at one point in its life. They're not exactly the same direction, but how do you figure this out? So that's how they're meant to be. So that stud's meant to be the same length. They're meant to be the same length, but someone changed the nut, obviously. And I can also tell this nut thread has stretched a bit. So someone's put a bigger nut on there, because that was a 19 that was on here, and everyone else had a 17mm. Oh my god, the lighting is just crazy. Crazy. I can't turn down the lighting as much as I'd like, because these things are just so powerfully bright. I can, however, maybe crossways the light a little bit to try and do something about it. But anyway, the one that was really badly out of round, I don't know if you can see any bends or anything. It doesn't look quite straight by eye, and I think it was this one that had two spots of really, really bad wear. Up the top has some wear where my nose is pointing, and if we look at the face, I don't think you can see it unless I throw some light in my face again. If we look at the face, the one way it has material and the other way it doesn't. I can probably show this better if I could flip the camera, but here has less material against near the thread, the bolt. I'm trying to show you guys. See how there's material to the side where my finger is? On the other side, however, there's a hell of a lot more material, so it's actually really badly worn out. And the shackles need to be replaced. In fact, I can clearly see it here. There's a very small lip, and then here's a large one that tells me how badly it's worn out. There's also a lot of crickets running around, jumping all over the place. Now, on this one here, there's wear right there, you can see. That's the material where it's meant to be, and this is where it's at there. Here it's sort of similar. They're just worn out. The shackles, these... I'm at a point where I've pulled most of it apart. I'm not sure what to do next. That stuff's as done as I can get it. Let me just start packing it away, because I'm going to have to take off in a minute and go inside, or wherever I need to go. That doesn't really fit too well, does it? It's a little bit tight, but that's a good thing, I guess. You've got to remember which way they go. So I've actually gotten to this point where I've actually pulled out the rear ones, and it sort of is, in a way, I'm going to try and add some extra lights so we can see some more stuff here. We've got all these lights, but they're no good unless you can put them on something. Beautiful. Forgot all about that. Just look up and check there's no wasps. There's this hole here, right? And it's kind of worn out down the bottom. And if you look right here at this point where my finger is, it's a little bit too worn out. And it's kind of an oval, not a round circle. I don't know if that's okay or not. But on the other side, it's a lot worse than this side. And it's one of those things where I've got to work out, do I get new leaf springs on this, or do I not? It's because I don't want to spend a crazy absurd amount of money that I don't actually have. So it's one of those things where I've got to figure it out. I don't know. Looking through the hole, you can see it's abnormally worn over here. It's like really badly worn out and you can actually see it clearly. I didn't think to do this on the other side, did I? It's like an oval shape rather than a round circle. That way at least I can see the camera. And this is what I can see from here. And my dad was talking about how the material gets thinner there and she just snaps off while you're driving. That could be a really big risk. So it makes me wonder. I'm not actually doing courier driving anymore, so I don't think it's as big of a risk. I can now do the other side though. Ooh, now I can do it the tricky way on this side. Show you it's not as bad as the other side. It's one of those things, I'm not sure how bad the wear actually is. But you can see the same thing right here, that wear right there. It's pretty bad. I'm not sure if I should reuse these sleeve springs or get new ones. And even if I did say, hey, I'll get new ones, the price of them is like, I can't afford it. Like, I'm saying like a lot. Now the teacher has got me onto like, great. The car's in the air. It's got work getting done to it slowly. I'm looking into what to do to it. I found some nice deals. I don't know if they're actually good deals or not, but we'll find out. I don't think I should worry about how long the parts are necessarily going to last. I thought about a little bit, but not hard and fast sort of thing. 50,000 kilometer warranty on the parts that I did find that really, really cheap. And they're not necessarily going to last longer than 50,000, so it gives this car another 50,000. It will live another life of what I've already driven it for. So I could put cheap parts on, not the rear necessarily, but the front, upper and lower ball joints, because she has a clunky noise at this side. I need to actually demonstrate that for you guys. If I get up here, I gotta see if I can do this. I can't do it. It's probably because the car is on stands and she doesn't have as much maneuverability as she did on the ground with all suspension parts moving. But she could have also been making noises from back there. But she made noises in here, in this region, mostly. As we can also tell, these upper control arm bushes are really badly worn out. I'm going to replace all of the control arm bushes and see if I can fix them all, get them all nice and new again. If I do put this on the road, I have to remember to get some mud flaps. So anyone out there, South Australia, selling mud flaps, send me a message. I am looking for a set for the front, because that's what has got to be on the car. If they're not on the car, then I'm going to be in trouble. So I'll shut the gate now. It's time to pack up out here. Oh, I'm getting dirty again. Just like me, dirty. So now with the car, so I don't destroy the engine, I'm going to actually drop the boost. I'm going to go from its stock standard 10 down to 3 to preserve the engine's life, so I don't kill my head gasket again, especially if I have to replace head gaskets. That way I can't over boost it and I can't push it to its limits, because then I can avoid hitting its limits in which it blows the head gasket, and I can give it back its reliability factor. Maybe. I have no idea how that's going to turn out, but it's the only thing I can realistically do to make sure the car's going to last, because I know it can run without boost. I know it can run with max boost, but as soon as you hit a load, you tend to normally keep pushing it or try to be gentle, but it still boosts anyway, because under a heavy load, and it knows it needs it somehow. I don't know how it works, but it just knows it needs more boost, so it just boosts away, and that just blows my head gaskets. So I'm going to avoid that as best as I can. I'm going to get a variable controller, and that's when I do the next head gasket changeover. I can do it in one hit, one price, that's it. $30, no more, no less. I've already got a backup set of head gaskets ready. So, worst comes to worst, I can replace it once, or I can replace it twice, but I need to order some more head gaskets, because that's my thing. I buy head gaskets, and to replace the head gasket on that thing for me is cheap. It's about $30 for a head gasket, just to replace the head gasket. Okay, so I wanted to get your guys' opinion on some things. So I have been shopping around for parts, and I found that the standard parts that I like to buy normally are $70 each, and I need to spend $280 to get 4 parts. The same quantity of parts is much less, costing half the price essentially. So for a set of upper ball joints, it's $52.45, making it about $25 per ball joint, and the lower ball joints are about $24 each. Whereas with these ones, they're $70 and $66 each for the ones I want. So I'm wondering, guys, should I go with the cheaper option for ball joint, or should I get the ones I want to get because I know the brand's decent quality and I want to stick with it? Even though they've messed up a couple of times with their parts, I find that their parts tend to be pretty good quality when I've gotten them. And they also refunded me when Master Cylinder let go, and a company said, get your money back on it, because I had it for a year, but then I installed it around the 7th month of last year, and then it just let go not too long in the future when I was doing a rebuild of my brakes, and that was a bit of an issue for me. I'm going to leave it at that, I think, for, talking about the brake systems. I'm actually getting pretty tired as well. So that's a very common word I'm using now. I'm tired, as always. I'm always tired. I'm just looking for the prices of the 2 kits. So I'm using So a lot, and I'm just getting annoyed by it right now a little bit, because it's a bit stupid, and my hair keeps sticking up at that piece. I can see it in the corner of my eye. I can't actually flip the screens anymore because it sucks. YouTube, if you ever see this video, please, if you're not going to let me live stream, at least give me a feature in which I can flip the camera around even though I'm recording. Unless you're using the default one, in which I still want you to flip the cameras. Jesus. So what I'm going to point out is, hopefully I can point this out to you. This is my cheaper kit. It's $547.66 for there's no leaf springs in this. It's just the lower control arm bushes in the front end, upper control arm bushes, which are really bad. The rear leaf spring bush kit, which is the ones that I just showed, which are really out around. The inner toe rods, because my inner ones I never replaced. A new fan blade, because Mum pointed out today. And then the kits for the ball joints upper, the rear leaf spring shackles, which $50 for a set. That's really, really cheap. That's like $24 each. And then the lower ball joints, which are also the same price as the rear leaf spring shackles. This prices in which I'm talking about, which are really cheap. Then over here, I've got the expensive ones here, which are the Protex, Shelby, Wasp, and they're way more expensive, but they're also individuals, whereas these ones here are sets of 2, based on what research I've actually done, and they're also a Koza brand. So those kits apparently are really, really cheap. 50,000, 40,000 kilometer warranty. 1 to 3 years warranty, I think, or 1 to 2 years warranty. 40,000, 50,000, 20,000 kilometer warranty. I think the ball joints had 40 or 50,000 kilometers. I think 50 and 40,000 is decent for the parts. I don't expect to be driving it crazy hard. I expect to be driving maybe up in Adelaide Hills and down here. I expect to be driving casually. I don't expect to be going off-road, full drive, bush bashing everywhere I go, because that's not what I do. And it's not that hard to replace those parts unless you need the tools, which I don't have, which I can get. But I can do them on and off the vehicle, because I I don't need the tools. I can take them to a workshop and have them replaced there if I need to. The ones I know, the workshops. And if I do this, that will hopefully make the vehicle safe. Now, the problem is I'm not sure if those leaf springs are safe to use or not, and I should really find out before I go ahead and say, hey, I want to buy a kit. Because from what I can tell, the shock absorbers are in good condition, so buying a kit is just a waste of money at this point. I use what I've got until I can afford to buy new stuff. Simple as that. That way, I don't have to do everything in the front end, just the stuff like the shock absorbers, which will be simple. I will eventually need to probably do a CV joint. That's the passenger side. So if I do the shockers, I can do the CV joints at the same time. Even though there's no real point if I'm not using four-wheel drive a hell of a lot. There's no point. But it's looking like now it's the reverse. It's gone from Tata being the cheapest option to now the Triton being the cheaper option of the two, getting them on the road. Tata still needs $100 on the brake and anywhere between $450 to $1,800 spent on a turbo. Then also you have to add on the head gasket if I put in a new turbo, because I'm not going to let the head gasket stay like that. That is just disgusting how there's oil in the water, the coolant. That's not a good sign. That is head gasket failure or cracked engine block, which is very unlikely since the compressions are so high. And because we haven't blown the block up yet. But, as I said to everyone, if she blows, she goes. I will call that a project car on the side because it's not going to be cheap to get parts for. It's going to be what I call... I've forgotten what the event's called. It's something to do with junk cars or something. I can't remember what they called it. Well, it's my junker, essentially. The Triton's not a junker, even though it looks like junk. I'm eventually going to save up and paint the Triton because it looks good in that picture and I want it to look as good as that. I feel like also, thinking about it, what I've been doing with this channel, even though I'm not doing proper videos or doing high quality stuff, I'm showing my ability to think about the parts, the costs of things, doing the research and homework, and actually doing the work. I'll be honest though, I don't do it consistently enough that I can be like, hey, I do this all the time, every day, and I'm good at it, I should be hired. I'm doing it in such a way that I understand everything. I know that I need to do this a lot to be proficient at it. I'm also saying that I don't really enjoy it as much because I have my reasons why I don't enjoy it. The reasons I don't enjoy it, one, I keep getting scratches and scuffs on the back of my fingers, which causes me issues and I bleed a lot there and it stings. And that's probably mostly because of the pants. I've only just learnt that. Then I have the problems where I was driving every day, then coming home to work on the car, and it was just exhausting. It's been exhausting 1.5 years. It's not something I really want to do. And I've found myself in situations with cars which are very difficult to work on. I don't like breaking things. I like to try and pull things apart and put them back together in one piece. So I'm open to the idea of working on the cars if I'm not going to break anything. So if there's someone experienced there to guide me, who can do it without breaking something, who can teach me the ropes and say, do this to the other door, I can essentially imitate what they're doing. I can give them a helping hand. It's not my career choice. However, the one benefit that I can give just about any workshop is I can research all these parts which are difficult to find, which has been the Tata. I can call people up, I can ask if they know anything about the turbo parts, and I've already figured out that I could probably get something or get a replacement or a rebuild done. Leaf spring wise, I honestly think I'll be okay to put those leaf springs, leave them in there, just replace all the bushes, because I'm not driving the car as hard as I was. I don't have a load on there anymore, if you understand what I mean. So it's not going to wear out as quickly. I think it's just going to be a light load. I could get leaf springs if I want to. I could go with the lower rated one since I'm not going to be loading it all the time. I would prefer, if I did leaf springs, get the best of the best, put it in there and be done with it. That way I can carry anything I want. And when I do drop the load, the weight of the vehicle, I can then add more weight onto it so that I can carry more stuff, which means I can carry 1,200 kilos, which is what this thing is meant to carry on the tray anyway. It's the payload. Then the GVM is somewhere in the 4,000s mark, from what I heard from, what were they called? Not the motor registry, it was Transport, Department of Transport Infrastructure. I'm pretty sure they told me it was around the 4,500 mark. It was less than that. I think it's about 4,000, I'll say that. Because if I say it's in between, I don't know. I'd rather say I know it's above 4,000, but I'm going to say it's 4,000. I could always do some homework and find out what it can do. Anyway, guys, I need your suggestion on these parts, because I will plan to do the front end and the rear end sort of at the same time. If I do it, I'll buy these parts for the front straight up, and then I'll afterpay the rear. That means I got some work to do. And should I go all the way or should I not? Because if I go all the way, that means best way to describe what I'm meaning, because I'm not good with words at the moment. If I decide to buy all those parts, it won't happen today. I won't be buying nothing. But if I can get some ideas of opinions of what you think about buying the cheaper parts, the more expensive ones, whether I should replace the shockers anyway, even though they seem like they're really solid, let me know. And the reason I say those shockers are pretty solid is because when I checked the rear of the Tata, checked the rear of the Pajero, checked all the cars, the Tata was the one that was still like this and just kept bouncing. Mine was solid, so you could push it, but it would go back to its normal position. From what I could tell, if she was going up, she'd go back down, and then she might come back up again. It was one of those situations where if I push it down, it'd go back up and stop. And maybe slightly go down, but she wouldn't go down, up, down, up, down. She wouldn't be rocking and rolling like crazy. And the rear is pretty solid. It's always felt like a solid vehicle to me. I feel like Dad's car is really bad. It clunks and clanks around corners when the wheels are going up and down. I think the ball joints on that are bad from some homework, some research. I think tie rods are bad. I think the steering box is bad. I think the whole suspension on his car is just crap because there's so much body roll in it. And even though he says it's full drive, I don't think it should be body rolling that much. I've driven in the other one we have leaf spring rear end, so it's different, not coilovers. And that thing was way nicer to drive and had way more control than his V6 Pajero station wagon. Anyway, I'm probably taking up too much of your time. I thank you all for watching. Feel free to give me your comments on the parts, the Koza brand, Protex, Selby, which is Selby, and Wasp. And, you know, just give me some ideas on what I should do with this, because I'm going to need a car soon, so more cost effective I can be, the sooner I can get it going and ready, the better, because I've still got to do a head gasket again. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day or night wherever you are in the world. Bye.